Hello, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. Prime factors is the first in a trend Voyager attempted from time to time. Captain Janeway found herself in a strange situation during her time in the series. Generally speaking, the romantic lives of captains are either not addressed or are in such a way as to make them a non-issue. The original series gave Kirk a reputation of being a ladies' man, though he's more of a serial monogamist whose focus is on his career. Captain Picard's love life is largely up in the air. He's largely a career officer, but he has a romance here and there. He has only one true love, but guilt keeps him from keeping that one at a distance. Captain Sisko starts off as a widower, and it's clear he's still grieving the loss of his wife for a long time, a point I plan to address when I analyze his character. Captain Janeway is surrounded by her subordinates. I think they could make an argument that there's no regulation requiring her to not date her officers, so long as there's no favoritism shown. But practically speaking, it would be an issue. It's not like if it didn't work out, one could ask for a transfer. The show instead gives Captain Janeway a series of short flyby relationships. Some are overtly romantic, others seem to give her a chance to exercise those muscles and not much more, and some seem to only be there to remind us that Kate Mulgrew is an attractive woman, because apparently the creators were afraid we lost our ability to see. I think Prime Factor falls into the last category. At this time, Captain Janeway is still engaged, and I think still feels that the 75-year time frame is just a worst-case scenario. There would have to be some shorter path home, and her fiancé would wait. Right? Some of the choices made solely because Captain Janeway is female annoy me, largely because they are contrived issues, such as whether or not to call her ma'am or sir or captain. Again, I think in the time that the story is supposed to be taking place, they would have dealt with that. But I can't really blame the writers for this one. As much as I hate it, this is something people would ask about. Social mores being what they are, actually letting Janeway have this was a progressive move. Beforehand, women were there as a thing for men to be interested in. For her to have the reverse is kind of a step forward, even if kind of a sexist step forward. Ensign Bradbury doesn't like this topic. I think it might have to do with something with the medical procedure he had to have before he was made a part of this crew. Sex isn't really a comfortable issue for him. But this is just one fact of the show. There's quite a bit to go over here, and I should really get on track. The story starts off in the mess hall, where the crew is razzing Kim. Janeway notes that the two crews are starting to see themselves as one team. She talks about this with Tuvok, who points out that having this cohesion will help improve morale and productivity. They are becoming a team that they can banter with and tease, but the moment is interrupted by the bridge receiving a distress signal. Per usual protocol, Voyager answers the message. When they answer the call, they're greeted by a leader of a people who say the message wasn't ask for help, but to offer it. The Scars are a people known for their warm hospitality and known for finding pleasure in helping others. After some talks, Captain Janeway allows the crew some leave and accepts the hospitality of their leader, love interest, Goth Laban. While on the planet, Janeway spends time talking late into the night with Goth. The rest of the crew gets some R&R, and Voyager is generously restocked. Ensign Kim learns two important things. First off, the Sakaris value stories as a precious commodity. They are hedonistic culture who enjoy giving others pleasure and finding new experiences for themselves. Stories seem to bridge the two interests together. Secondly, they've devised a way to travel far outside their solar system with a device that seems to work similar to a transporter. Just a couple jumps using this technology could get Voyager home. The only issue is the Sakaris have a similar policy with sharing technology as the Federation has. They won't share it with others in fear of it being abused. Being on the receiving end of such a policy is a sobering moment. However, they need to go home, and Voyager holds out hope that this is just a negotiating tactic. Harry remembers what he learned about the people and suggests they offer to trade the memory banks of Voyager for the technology. Janeway makes the offer during a dinner with Goth, hoping some Earth delicacies would soften his resolve. He does agree to bring their wishes to his leaders and see if he can persuade them, but it seems he's more interested in Janeway than he is in anything else. She's his new interest, and his new distraction. It creates an interesting dynamic. On the surface, the Sakaris seem very Federation-like. They're peaceful, have an interest in science, show concern for helping others, and find genuine pleasure in doing what they can. However, it becomes clear to Captain Janeway that her new friend has no interest in actually helping the crew get the technology that will take her away from him. He can see no better way to help the crew of Voyager than to offer them a place in their society. In a difficult discussion, Janeway brings up her reasons why they can't stay. She realizes their pleasure in helping isn't a desire for philanthropy, but a ploy to enjoy the unique and increase their indulgences. Captain Janeway says so and returns to Voyager with no megatransporter and needing to get out now. The problem is, the ship won't move. She says for the Voyager to leave the solar system. It doesn't. Unbeknownst to her, some of her crew decided to take back channels to get the device and have been preparing to use it to go home. At first, everything seems great. It's hooked up, B'Elanna is all ready to go, and realizes the only way the device can work is if they take off from the planet. The planet's crust is the key to make it work. No matter, it'll still get them 40,000 light years closer to home. That's nothing to sneeze at. Unfortunately, it's not working. Janeway is now impatiently waiting to get out of the solar system while the rogue team tries to fix the device. Instead, it blows out multiple systems and leaves the team exposed. This is when Captain Janeway finds out that B'Elanna, and most upsetting, Tuvok, have gone behind her back to get this device. Worst of all, not only has it gone horribly wrong, but it also wouldn't have worked if they had gone through the right channels. The technology is incompatible with Federation technology. A fact that could have worked out if given the chance to do things correctly. Janeway is left to discipline her crew. All in all, a bad day. The moment in the mess hall is small. Captain Janeway can't order the crew to become friends. I mean, she could, but it wouldn't really mean much. You can't enforce friendliness as much as we'd like to. The two teams have to organically find a way to get along. This is the first sign that they're really starting to do this. They've been friendly from time to time, but this level of just joking around and razzing one another, it's something you can only do with somebody you're becoming a real friend with. I don't recall the look of annoyance on her part. You can see that, oh great, here we go again look. Then again, a distress call coming from an otherwise sound ship isn't how things work. However, if you want to get the attention of a people who have been generally in a rough situation, and on a whole, one would hope has some reputation for being helpful, sending out a request for help makes a kind of sense. He's speaking their language. And I have to respect Goth. With all the crew has been through, they need a friendly face. The crew needs some distraction, and they do need supplies. Then there's the interaction with Goth. I'm not generally one to see those romantic subtleties, it's just not how I'm made up. But if he's not flirting with her when he offers to have a dress made for her, then please, tell me what's going on. And she is receptive, if a bit flustered. She's not accustomed to pampering herself, and I don't think it's something she really cares to do anyway. However, he's being nice to her, and they haven't really gotten a lot of that outside of Neelix and Cass. And though this part isn't about Janeway, I have to say something about Kim and his date. We usually see the interactions of technology from the perspective of the Federation having it, and others not. This is one time we see it from a different point of view. Though it turns out the Federation has been studying the probability of such transportation, seeing Kim try to work it out is interesting. And again, they're on the other side of a prime directive. The meeting where the senior staff talk about how to handle this situation is a difficult moment. How does one say, but we promise we're enlightened, all while basically arguing against their own principles to do so? This isn't a case of making the best bad choice. This is a case of when the right choice sucks. I don't think this will qualify in many people's books as a point when Janeway crosses the line, but I argue this is the first time Janeway approaches it a bit too closely. Every time before then, she's had a bad choice to make, and there isn't a good one. In this one, there is a right choice to make, and it's the ethical choice by their own standards, but it means things are going to be worse for them again. She has an answer. The answer, the one she doesn't like, is one she fundamentally agrees with. If she was following her principles, she might suggest offering the ship's collection of stories to the Scores, but would have never pushed it like she winds up doing. To be honest, if she wasn't flirting with the line, I think she would have found a middle ground. Offer the stories for the chance to talk with scientists about the theories they already have. There's no need to share the technology. Just let the crew pick their brains about the research already started. Again, this isn't new science. The theories are out there. They don't know the planet is necessary for it to work. The scientists could show them where the work is off or wrong, allowing Voyager to work out what can and can't be done. No lines crossed, no directives violated, and perhaps Voyager can get ideas from it that would actually work. Instead, she offers Goth pie and stories. And I'm sorry, the flirting on this part is a bit hammed up. When he touches her face, I want to slap his hand. I'm not convinced she actually wants him to. Is she flattered by him? I think so. But I don't think she was ever really infatuated with him. Maybe with the idea of being an object of interest. But she knows at this point he's objectifying her and playing it for what it's worth. Again, she doesn't cross the line. She never tries to take the technology, but it's clear Janeway would do whatever she could do to get it without actually stealing it, or do what the 4 crew members do. I won't go into detail about this here, I don't really have time. That said, as much as I've been calling this Janeway's first flyby boyfriend, hearing Seska say Janeway is infatuated by Goth is hard. I don't think Janeway is so much infatuated by him as she's enjoying herself. I can't honestly see her going for his type. I think the discussion with Tuvok is what ultimately motivates him to do what he does. After Harry shares with her the offer from a second source of the needed transportation device, Captain Janeway asks how far she should hold her principles. These are supposed to be enlightened people, but they're also far from home, and faced with a way to get there, at least in theory. Her principles stranded them. She doesn't say it, but that has to be what she's thinking. Who else would she go with her feelings? Tuvok is her moral center. The final interaction with Goth is hard to see. The contrast between how Goth sees things and how she does is interesting. She wants the permanence of home, so she has to leave. He wants her. I think he does find her attractive, and he would like to have Captain Janeway in his life, but her question is valid. How long before he loses interest and her crew would be stranded? New beads are one thing, people are something else. I think Goth genuinely believes he's doing the right thing by trying to convince Voyager to stay. I do think he honestly meant well, but their core values are too different. Have you ever accidentally placed jumper cables on battery the wrong way? Negative to positive and so on? Well, that's a little what the warp core looks like when they attempt to jump. Not that I would know firsthand. And now we're back in the ready room with Torres and Tuvok. It's clear Captain Janeway is angry with Torres. When Tuvok admits his part, it's clear she's devastated. She's not angry, she's hurt. Well, maybe both. I don't think Janeway ever looks at him the same way. The moment genuinely hurts her friendship. This scene is one of Tim Russ's best. Imagine having to depict the changing emotions of someone who doesn't express emotions. You can see Tuvok process what Janeway is saying to him. You can see him go from guilty, but not sorry, to understanding how he betrayed her, and finally how wrong he was and why. His line, "I don't believe my logic was an error, but I was," is somehow moving. You know he regrets his actions. That's not an easy thing to show in a Vulcan. We've seen how utterly powerless Captain Janeway is in past episodes. We see how in Phase she can't use the authority of the Federation as she could in the Alpha Quadrant. We see the loss of hope and devastation in Eye of the Needle. But we never really see Captain Janeway look so totally alone. If she can't rely on Tuvok, who can she rely on? Her devastation is complete at the end. Maybe Goth broke her feelings, but Tuvok broke her heart. In summary, Janeway's story here isn't just a tacky attempt at a failed romance, or Janeway flirting with crossing the line with her ethics. It's a practice in how you can do everything right, follow the rules, and still be betrayed. Thank you for watching. If you like this subject, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any thoughts, feelings, or ideas on this subject, please share in the comments below. Again, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. But guilt keeps him from keeping that one at a distance. But this is just one fact of the show. There's quite a bit to go over here, and I should really get on track. Yes, Ensign Bradbury agrees. and accepts the hospitality of their leader, love interest, General Labon. I'm saying his name wrong, and he is going to be Goth from now on just because I don't know how to say his name. Ensign Kim learns two important things. One being that he can actually end a date without him landing in the water out of a gondola. And he would like to have Captain Wainway. Wainway? Captain Wainway is a really good woman. Okay, I'm getting slap happy now.